Hello, everyone. Today, I want to share some truly profound life lessons that I've had the privilege to learn from my Amish friends. You know, with the rising cost of food and other expenses, it's more important than ever to find smart ways to live efficiently. Their way of life, rooted in simplicity and community, holds timeless truths that have genuinely shifted my perspective on economical and meaningful living, and I believe they can resonate deeply with many of us who are looking for practical life solutions. Over the past few years, I've spent a significant amount of time with my Amish friends, experiencing their unique lifestyle firsthand. From helping them harvest ice to learning how to drive a horse and buggy, these experiences have been incredibly eye-opening. What struck me most wasn't just the practical skills, but the deep wisdom and life principles they embody every single day. And today, I want to share the top 6 lessons that have really stuck with me, offering insights that can certainly apply to how we approach our own lives, green living, and finding effective solutions. 1. Anyone can start a business. The first lesson, and perhaps the most impactful for me, is this. Anyone can start a business. Think about it. My Amish friends, most of them only go to school until the 8th grade. They don't have access to the internet, no fancy business degrees, none of the digital tools we rely on. Yet, almost every single Amish family I know runs one or even multiple businesses right from their property, from their homestead. They build furniture, they bake, they farm, they craft, and they do it with incredible skill and dedication. There's even a story from a viewer about an Amish team brought in to re-roof and restore a round barn because they had the unique knowledge and building skills, all without CAD. Now, some might assume they don't need much money because of their simple lifestyle, but that's not entirely true. My Amish friends, for example, have 9 children, a large house with acreage, and considerable expenses like real estate taxes and medical bills. The key, I realized, is their mindset. They don't make excuses. They don't say, "Oh, I don't have the time," or "I could never figure that out." They don't let fear hold them back. For them, the real failure would be continuing to work in a job that they hate under fluorescent lights for the rest of their life. If the Amish can support a successful homestead 100% with their own businesses without working for somebody else, then we certainly can too. This entrepreneurial spirit, born from necessity and ingenuity, is a fantastic example of efficient and self-sufficient living. One viewer shared they just got 26 acres and plan to work the land to avoid working for the man much longer, inspired by this very idea. 2. The power of collaboration and seeking wise counsel. The second lesson I absorbed is the immense power of effective partnerships and actively seeking advice from experts. When you look at history's greatest entrepreneurs, a Bill Gates and Paul Allen, a Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, they almost always had someone, a partner or an advisor, providing wisdom and helping them make crucial decisions. The Amish operate with the same principle. They won't embark on a large project or a new business venture without first consulting the elders in their community or someone who already has vast experience in that specific field. It's fascinating because they literally have an expert for everything. If you need a cabinet builder, you see one guy. For metalwork, you see another. They don't just sit around trying to figure everything out by themselves. They actively seek that advice and wisdom. One viewer even noted that the Amish are very united, helping each other on everything when there's a need, which is a huge part of why they are successful. Another commented on their instructiveness. This reminds us that no matter our age or experience, we don't have to have all the answers. By humbly seeking advice from those who have walked the path before us, those who've made the mistakes and learned the lessons, we can save ourselves a lot of time and effort. It's about efficiency in learning and leveraging collective knowledge, preventing wasted resources. This collaborative spirit ensures that their communities thrive and projects are completed effectively, a true model for overcoming modern challenges. 3. Live without fear, live with faith. The third lesson, and possibly the most profound, is about living without fear and embracing faith. What I found incredibly striking about the Amish is their genuine lack of fear whatsoever. It's not a fake thing. They don't have anxiety or worries about their paycheck or what's going to happen in the world or the next pandemic. This deep, authentic peace comes from having 100% faith in God. They truly leave everything in God's hands. I recall speaking with them during the height of the pandemic. While the rest of the world was consumed by anxiety and fear, they literally had no worry. They just heard about it and weren't worried. They focused on their family, their church, and their homestead. Their approach is simple. Let's worry about it when it becomes a problem. Think about how much energy we often waste on sleepless nights, worrying and anxiety about things that never even come to fruition. As one insightful viewer commented, "Worrying never added 1 second to one's life, so why bother?" The Amish teach us to conserve that precious energy and direct it toward what truly matters. They don't walk around life every day fearing things that are not currently a problem. This mental efficiency is a powerful life solution, freeing up mental space for genuine productivity and peace. Fourth, smart and sustainable living. Another key area where the Amish excel in saving money is their approach to daily living. Let's start with their smart shopping habits, particularly their embrace of bent and dent stores. With the cost of food through the roof and inflation impacting everything, I wanted to share these money-saving ideas. The Amish are not entirely self-sufficient. They definitely have to buy things from stores. They frequently patronize bent and dent stores, also known as salvage or discount grocery stores. These stores sell food and products that might have damaged packages, be discontinued, or are close to or past their expiration date. Because of this, you can get things at really good discounts, sometimes half price, or even 80% off. Amish often run these stores themselves, and it was actually the first place I stopped when taking my Amish friends shopping. I personally like to pick up things with a long shelf life, like nuts, trail mix, and drinks, which are fine past their best-by dates. As one viewer mentioned, they always have fantastic buys at Amish bulk and bent and dent stores. This is truly smart, economical living. Beyond shopping, their approach to simple clothing is incredibly insightful. They don't follow fads and have a standard style of plain clothing. Often these clothes are made by the mother or daughters of the home, like dresses and trousers. This has a double benefit. The clothes themselves are generally inexpensive, and you save time by not having to choose outfits daily or spend hours searching for stylish clothing in stores. While they do spend on durable items like good boots and shoes that get a lot of use, overall, this simplicity significantly saves money compared to non-Amish people. One viewer, a seamstress, pointed out that making clothing is actually expensive now due to fabric costs, and buying simple dresses off the rack can be more economical. Lastly, the Amish are masters of buying food in bulk. Bulk food stores are very popular in Amish communities, often run by Amish people. This is where they buy huge bags of flour, sugar, and large amounts of baking supplies. They also shop at large supermarkets like Costco, which is a natural fit with their large families, ensuring food is eaten and not wasted. This strategy, especially for certain long-lasting items, can be very smart for any household looking to save. Another viewer loves visiting Amish bulk grocery stores and buying large bags of bulk spices. This commitment to simple living and buying in bulk is a core pillar of their economical and efficient lifestyle. 5. The art of reuse, repair, and preservation. This is a lesson I've seen demonstrated beautifully by the Amish, and it fits perfectly with our Grandma Green wisdom philosophy. The deep value they place on reusing and repairing things rather than constant replacement. Since they are generally not as consumption-oriented as non-Amish Americans, partly due to the practicality of not having easy access to stores with a horse and buggy, they tend to rely more on repairing items than throwing them away and buying something new. Shoe repair, for instance, is common in Amish communities. They will also find and repair old Maytag wringer washers, with a clear market for these old washers in their communities. Hand-me-downs are also common, fitting well with their large families. A deeply ingrained value among the Amish is not being wasteful. As one viewer eloquently put it, repurposing takes things to a whole new level when you can see an item not just being able to be reused, but reused in a different and potentially more functional way. It fosters creative and resourceful thinking. Another shared how worn jeans can become tote bags or aprons. This mentality of maintaining and repairing rather than replacing is not only economical, but also fundamentally green and sustainable. This extends to growing and preserving their own food, which is perhaps the most iconic aspect of their sustainable living. Amish families tend to have very large gardens and, as a result, do large amounts of canning, sometimes up to 1,000 quarts per year. They can typical garden vegetables like green beans, beets, corn, and carrots, as well as fruits, which they often buy in bulk from orchards if they don't grow them themselves. Amazingly, they even can meat, like pork from a hog slaughter or venison from hunting. The authors of Nature and the Environment in Amish Life note that canning is the cheapest, most effective way to preserve a large supply of a perishable resource. This makes perfect sense when you consider the energy needed to run a freezer for months versus food sitting safely in a can. If you have access to land for a garden, it's a great option for saving money. Many viewers resonate with this, sharing how they also have large gardens and can extensively, with some noting canning can be more versatile than freezing, and that canning meat is a game changer for self-sufficiency. This commitment to homegrown food and preservation is peak Grandma Green wisdom. 6. Mindful energy use. Finally, a powerful lesson from the Amish is their mindful approach to energy use and finding simple, often manual solutions for daily needs. They don't have electricity, which naturally leads to highly efficient habits. For instance, instead of electric dryers, they hang all their clothes inside the house on wooden racks, using the dry air from their stoves to quickly dry items, and this also helps replenish humidity in the home. This saves money and clothing, as lint from dryers indicates fabric breakdown. A viewer shared, "I lived in a country without dryers for 20 years and still hang 99% of my clothes." One viewer, who worked for an Amish family, described using a hand washer and hanging clothes to dry, and relying on candles or kerosene lamps for light. Another viewer shared that they still use a wringer washing machine today, saving significantly on electricity bills, which can be over $400 a month for some. They don't even run refrigerators, just a frost-free one, and prove that you don't need all modern appliances to cook efficiently with just one burner instead of 3. These practices demonstrate incredible efficiency and an awareness of resource consumption that goes beyond simply saving money. It's about living thoughtfully and responsibly with what you have. You know, we can't copy the Amish in everything they do. It's a different culture and community, and they often have very large families. but I still believe we can take certain ideas that make sense for them and also make sense for us. These 6 lessons from the Amish have truly brought a new layer of green wisdom into my life. Not just about being environmentally conscious, but about living a life that is efficient, intentional, and deeply fulfilling. I've learned so much more from them, from gardening techniques to truly sustainable practices. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are some life lessons or pieces of wisdom you've learned from others that have changed your perspective? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need to hear these messages, and subscribe for more content on living a green, economical, and efficient life. See you next time.